Hey, if you're enjoying the content here at Dennis Sperling Unfiltered, make sure you support it by sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And also, hit that little notification bell in the corner so that you'll get notice of each and every one of our live feeds. Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Dennis Sperling, and I'm back again to continue our series. And we're going to talk about King Changamire, or really it's Changamire Dombo, which really translates to leader or ruler, empire, king. So that's his title. His title being Changamire Dombo, the title Changamire or Lord. And a little bit about this man. He predates Shaka Zulu, the area of the world that he comes from in Africa. Is located in the general region that we like to think the fictional place Wakanda is located. Now, this is the empire of the Rosvi. And so this is the Indian Ocean here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a map. This is the area we're talking about right in here. And this is his empire. This region here. So it's right around Swaziland, upper right corner, Botswana, Zimbabwe. This is where his empire was. And the person we're talking about is, of course, Changamire Dombo, right? Now, funny, if you look at the map here, again, this is the area he's from. And if you look at where is Wakanda, it's the same. You got different locations, but it's here is one of the places. They're also saying up in here by Uganda. So if you look at this map here, it kind of shows you that they're kind of saying that this man, this king who they refer to as magical or having supernatural powers, is from the same location. With a name like Changamire makes sense. But either way. What's up, guys? We've got 16 people in the chat room. Get the likes up, get the contributions up. I do this because I feel like you brothers, we need to dig that deep. We're descended from kings. We're descended from generals. We're descended from great warriors. We just don't know their names. And so we need to begin to actually speak their names. So that's what we're going to do today. During the Changamire Dombo was a relative of Muhammad Tuapa, and began as one of these local Shona leaders. He gained the Changamire Lord and developed, he gained the title Changamire Lord and developed an effective army known as the Rosvi that by the 1670s became a major force in the northeast of the Zimbabwean plateau. During the early 1680s, Dombo led his army to the southwest, where he defeated the Torwa. He then challenged the Portuguese of the Zimbazi Valley. Dombo's first military encounter with the Portuguese and their African mercenaries took place just before June 1684 at the Battle of Mangwa. Rosvi, bows and arrows versus Portuguese firearms. The engagement lasted an entire day. Although Changamire Dombo managed to rout the Portuguese 4 or 5 times, his army took heavy casualties from gunfire. 4 out of 5 took heavy casualties from gunfire. Both armies camped on the battlefield and intended to resume fighting the next day. At 1 a.m., the Portuguese awoke to see that they were surrounded by fire made by Rosivi women on Dombo's order. Believing they were surrounded, the Portuguese and their African allies ran off into the night. And then the sun came up. and Changamire Dombo's army looted their abandoned camp. Changamire Dombo did not pursue the Portuguese because of the heavy casualties his army had suffered, and because he had to contend with the Mutapa force, including some Portuguese invading Butua, that he eventually defeated, killing 5,000. From around 1685 to 1672, Changamire Dombo consolidated his hold on Buatua. In 1693, a new Munham Tapa called in Changamire, who wanted to establish his independence, invited Dombo Rosby to assist him against the Portuguese. In November of that year, a Rosy army attacked Portuguese settlements, destroying everything, and dug up graves to use the remains as war medicine. Many Portuguese fled Tet. Changamire Dombo Rosby invaded Manica, where they replaced the ruler and destroyed Portuguese presence. Further Rosy campaigns to the northwest were delayed, and Changamire Dombo's death in 1696, allowing the Portuguese to flee the Zimbabwean plateau. Changamire's death defeated the military superpower of the era, which had conquered India and China. Okay, so look, this man, just so I can put this in perspective, Portugal at the time was one of the superpowers, and they basically got whooped on by a group of tribesmen led by this man, this lord. And he whooped them consistently so bad, they kept trying to figure out, who is this guy? Where is he coming from? They couldn't. They were trying to take control of the gold trade in the interior Africa by invading the Rosivi Empire. The Rosivi, armed with traditional spears and shields, were able to successfully defeat these attacks and maintain control of the gold mines until the empire collapsed. All right. So what I'm trying to tell you is, man, this man whooped the strongest army in the world. This black man. This is before Shaka Zulu. Let me see. There are some other things I want to talk about as related to this man. A leader from the people, Guru Sawa, given the title Changamire and known as Dombo, became independent from the Mutapa when the Portuguese tried to colonize them. Changamire Dombo led rebellions against their rule. The area of the Rosy Empire fluctuated. Its influence extended over much of present-day Zimbabwe, westward to Botswana, southward to northeastern South Africa. And Rosby leader Changamire Dombo was originally a herdsman in the Mutapa state, yet managed to drive away the Portuguese, earning himself support and followers, thereby enabling him to break away from the legendary Mutapa Empire. Changamire, and this is the part I want you guys to believe, to listen to. Changamire Dombo, according to oral tradition, is to believe to have possessed superpower, supernatural powers. He was said to be able to turn a white cow into a red one and more. His magical ability made him feared by people and earned him the respect and even more followers. The name Changamire became an honor name of all the kings who followed him. So this is where your Black Panther came from. I've noticed that Marvel Comics, some of their heroes, they really steal a lot from African legends. They do a lot. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Professor X, Magneto, and now come to find out the Black Panther is a watered down version of the legend of Changamire. And so let's look a little bit. There's a video here that I want you guys to check out. And this will continue our study in the Black masculinity, because there's nothing like seeing the image for yourself. Again, this is our brother. This is undeniable that this is our Black African brother. This is before Shaka Zulu. Look at this great legend. Let's listen.
Referenced quite often in popular culture throughout the years. He gets a lot of credit for essentially creating
Hold on. Let's go run it back.
Shaka Zulu of the 19th century is arguably the most popular king in African history. He's been referenced quite often in popular culture throughout the years. He gets a lot of credit for essentially creating Zulu military culture. Even though this Zulu king has had many accomplishments, there was another great African ruler seldom spoken of that existed a century before in Southern Africa, and this ruler can be said to be an even greater conqueror than Shaka himself.
Well, Changamire Dombo was an even greater conqueror than Shaka. Let's keep listening, because he beat the Portuguese multiple times.
What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. By supporting this channel on Patreon, you're helping in the creation of these videos and supporting this content. If you'd like access to full courses and sources, or you simply want to show your support, you may do so by clicking the Patreon link in the description box below. The Southern African ruler we'll be speaking about today is Changamire Dombo. Changamire Dombo was a ruler of the Rasvi Empire that was founded by him in 1660. It was located in the modern country of Zimbabwe amongst one of the Shona peoples. Now, as we in the diaspora look at African history, I think it's important for us to do our own analysis and determine our noteworthy figures, because if we don't, we may miss something that is of great importance to us. Many celebrated African figures were presented to us by people outside of our community, and it's for this reason why we miss out on legendary figures like Changamire Dombo, as we don't really hear much about him at all in popular culture. In order to understand this great ruler, we have to understand where he came from and the conditions in which he formed his empire. Before the great Changamire created his dynasty of Rasvi rulers.
Now, if y'all bored, let me know. I'll turn it off. But if you like what you hear, make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. All right, hit the #1 button. Let me know you're here. Let me get some $100 in here, some 20s, some 100s, some 50s, some 5s. Go ahead and contribute. I haven't gotten anything on the Cash App all day. But if you like this, I'll keep doing it. If not, we'll go back to talking about pop culture and then, you know, we can, you know, Lil Nas X, if that's what you want. But other than that, I want to continue this discussion on Black masculinity.
The Mwenimutapa Empire was the primary state in the region. The Portuguese constantly tried to get a stronghold in the region, and their efforts were continually frustrated by the well-organized economic system of the Mwenimutapa throne. That is, until things went left for Mwenimutapa with succession disputes, a common problem in world history. Succession disputes were the ruin of Mwenimutapa as various princes vied for power. The only way a contender got the advantage was by calling on the Portuguese for military assistance to gain the throne.
So basically, whenever somebody would die and they was trying to figure out who's going to be in charge, they would, some people would go outside and call on the Portuguese or some European powers to help them get the upper hand.
Once that happened, Portugal was essentially able to influence the politics of the great Shona state.
So
Portugal began.
You asked for our help? Okay, cool. We'll help you get in power. Now we're going to tell you what to do. That's the play the European powers do all the time now.
To dominate the area south of the Zambezi River, when Mwenimutapa was in rapid decline. Civil unrest became common as the state took a downward spiral. But this did not deter local Shona men from establishing their own militias to acquire power and fight back against European and Mwenimutapa domination. The most popular of these local Shona warlords was a former cattle herder named Dombo.
That's what this brother looked like. So this is a depiction of Dombo. You see him with his earrings with the holes in them and the leopard print. You see the brother with the headdress, his broad nose, his thick lips. This is an African lord right here, right? This is a depiction of the black man that ran the Portuguese out of that part of Africa.
After displays of power and positioning himself as the principal warlord in the region, he gained the respect of his men and was granted the title Changamire.
You heard how how did he gain respect of his men? He fought.
Meaning Lord. Changamire then developed a powerful army known as the Rosvi. They became a dominant force in the northeast Zimbabwe plateau. This great Changamire consolidated his power by defeating other kingdoms vying for power, destroying capitals, and absorbing other local Shona peoples. His first encounter with the Portuguese was at the Battle of Mwangwe in 1684.
All right, so it's 1684. So this is almost 200 years after Columbus has came to America. Slavery has begun in the United States in 1619. It's a colony of the Americas. You got all this stuff. The European countries have expanded out. The Moors have been put out of Spain as of about 100-something years ago, 200 years ago. And now the Europeans are coming down to Africa to try to exploit it for gold, salt, everything they can get. So they're trying to take over each and every little part that they can. All right. So now here they come. They're coming in with their guns and their cannons, just like they dominated the Indians over native the Americans. The Americans, they trying to do that to the Bloods down here in Southeast Africa.
What's interesting about Changamire Dombo was that he didn't just use brute force to defeat the Portuguese, but psychological warfare.
He didn't just use brute force to defeat the Portuguese. He used psychological warfare. This man was advanced. Okay, this was not what they tell you our people were, hanging from trees and all that stuff. This was advanced warfare tactics. Get the likes up, get the contributions up, tag a friend. We talking about black masculinity today. We can talk, y'all want to talk about Lil Nas X? Let me find Lil Nas X for y'all. That's what we're going to do. We're going to sit up here for the rest of the day and talk about Lil Nas X. This is the masculinity that you all want to see. See, this is the toxin that you need to see. You need to see this. So you don't want to see Changamire Dombo. This is the image that they want black men to see themselves as. This is what they want for you. All right. I'm asking you guys, hit the #1 button, hit the like button, get the contributions up. They need to be flowing in. See, this is what they want us to talk about on YouTube. But instead of talking about this foolishness, look at this. Look how far we've sunk, black man. And you got me on here spending days and days in and days out. Look how far we've sunk. I got 400 views on the videos. I got less than 1,000 views from the two videos last night. I spent 2 hours on them. And we got 33 people in here. You see what I'm saying? But when I put something up like that, I get 2,000 or 3,000 videos. I get all kinds of contributions. I get money coming in on Cash App, PayPal, and everything. This is what you want to talk about. This is what, maybe not, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe y'all want to talk about Quavo. Let's talk. Apparently somebody said something to Quavo today. So let's talk about Quavo. Y'all don't want to talk about this black man. Y'all don't want to talk about this black lord, this king. That's not what you want to talk about. Quavo. Let's look at Quavo. Let's let Quavo lead y'all into the next century. Quavo is going to save you. That's what you need. You want to talk about him. Get the likes up, fam. Get the contributions up. Don't waste my time out here. Let me know you appreciate what I'm doing. This is your leader right here. That's your leader right there. There you go. You don't need this. This right here. Y'all don't want that. Y'all want that. See, this is what you want. You don't want this guy here. You don't want this black king right there who fought against armies greater than him and won. Y'all want this. You want this gold mouth sucker right here who got played by his little weird girlfriend. That's what y'all want to talk about. That's what you guys want to talk about. Hit the #1 button. If you appreciate what I spend time putting these things together, I do the homework. We're talking about the real Black Panther today, but y'all rather talk about Quavo and Lil Nas X. Get the contributions up. Let me see some 10s and some 20s and some 5s and some whatever it is. Just let me know you appreciate what I'm doing. Don't make me have to ask you guys again. Don't just sit there and watch. You show your appreciation for this.
Became his greatest weapon. At this particular battle, Portuguese gunfire continued to save them from total annihilation as they were almost routed several times, according to the sources. However, early the next day, the Portuguese awoke to find that they were surrounded by fire made by Razvi women, instructed to do so on Changamire Dombo's orders. This made the Portuguese believe that they were surrounded.
Look how proud this black, look at that black man. This is a rendition, look at him. That's you, black man, that's your heritage right there. Fearlessness, strength, dedication. He uses psychological, he sent his women around and light fires against them. Scared the hell out of them. They in the deepest, darkest areas of Africa, and they scared to death.
Surrounded, and morale plummeted, and they took flight. Changamire didn't only deal with the Portuguese, but other African enemies like the Mwenimutapa Empire.
Look what he did. You got the most powerful empire in the world. Okay, they were down there. They were not looking for a fight. They were looking for a victim. He attacked. He lost most of it. He lost 4 out of 5 of his men. But you know what? They didn't give up. They went right back to it. They waited till the dark came. The women put fire all around these Portuguese. They thought they were surrounded, and they got so scared they ran. That lets you know they're bullies. That lets you know who they are at the core. Cowards. As long as they got guns and cannons and rockets, they'll fight you if you got spears and cowhide shields. But the minute they feel like they surrounded, they about to die, they're gonna run. What does that tell you about who you're dealing with? Our ancestors are teaching us, they have taught us. The next time one of these clowns tells you something like we should be ashamed of our ancestors, you let them know our ancestors didn't lose battle. They won the battles, they lost one. But unfortunately, all it takes is one. That's what it takes. If they were really losing like that, Africa would have been run over. Yeah, they're getting resources out of it, but you don't see it occupied like America is, do you? Where the Native Americans lost, the Africans didn't lose. Because if the Africans truly lost, there wouldn't be any more Africans around. They'd be living on colonies somewhere. They'd be living on a reservation somewhere. That's what it would look like. They didn't lose. They still fight. Keep watching. Make sure y'all get the likes up and get the contributions up. Get the contribution. Give me $5, $10. I'm gonna find somebody else for us to talk about.
He constantly defeated all his African foes, and at one point, the Mwenimutapa throne seeking independence from Portugal asked for the Changamire's aid. The great Razvi ruler accepted the call, and in November 1693,
So you got another, he whooped all the tribes. And one of the tribes that used to go ask one of the tribesmen who was being oppressed by the Portuguese went and asked Changamire to help him get free from the Portuguese. It used to be the reverse. They used to ask the Portuguese to help them fight their brothers. Now they said, no, this brother has proved his strength. We're going to ask him to help free us from the Portuguese. Get the likes up.
Changamire rendered the Portuguese helpless under his rule. The Razvi army attacked Portuguese settlements, destroyed churches, defiled their holy vessels and sacred images, dug up Portuguese graves, and committed other acts that totally demoralized.
Now, you heard what he said? He said, F your God. You see how ruthless he was? You see what he did? We attacked their settlements. We burned down their churches. We dug up their graves. Scared the bejesus out of them. Scared the hell out of them. They said this man, he's not losing any battles. He's out there with sticks and spears, and he's killing us. We got to get the hell out of here. He rendered them useless. This is what Changamire Dombo did. This is what this black Lord did. This is what this king did to the most powerful nation on the planet, at the military power on the planet at the time. Scared to hell, dug up their graves, wouldn't even let their dead sleep in his country, in his land.
Them. This was perhaps one of the most humiliating defeats of a European power in all of Southern Africa.
Humiliated him.
Of Islanwanla between the Zulu and the British, only somewhat echoing it in importance. It seemed as though everywhere the Changamire went, the Portuguese were no match. Ironically, The Portuguese were able to seize the Mutapa throne, but that was only because Changamire Dombo didn't intervene due to his campaign in Manica, where he replaced the ruler there and destroyed Portuguese presence. What Changamire Dombo accomplished was unprecedented in Southern African history, especially if you compare it to Portuguese power exhibited along the Swahili coast. The Changamires and their dynasty prompted many Portuguese settlers to leave the plateau.
Ran them up out of there. Ran them out of there. Scared them to death. Ran them out of there. They look at that. They tired of Europe. Europe is, you know, all messed up. And they don't have any. They come down to Africa and say, we just gonna take this land. We just gonna live here and live well. And they got all this sunshine and food. We just gonna take this. And Changamire Dombo said, no, you're not.
Altogether and move into the Zambezi Valley. It's interesting that the name Changamire Dombo does not carry the same fame like that of Shaka Zulu. This is why it's important.
This is our brother. This is a rendition of what he looked like.
That we study African history for ourselves and determine who our greats will be. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production.
All right. Shout out to Home Team History, man. Appreciate that, man. Fair use. I appreciate that. First of all, before we get any further, let's get some contributions. $5. I want everybody in who can contribute $5. Go ahead and do it. $10 if you can. 20, 30, 40, whatever. Show me you appreciate this. We've been doing this for a while now. Okay? We've been at this for a minute. This is like a week of me doing African leaders, specifically Black leaders, specifically Black masculine, manly leaders that you can say, oh man, Changamire Dombo. That sounds like somebody gonna name their child Changamire. I can see somebody naming their child that. That means Lord. That's what that means. So this is what we're doing here. You guys make sure you contribute. Hit the number 1 button if you appreciate what we're doing. Hit the number 1 button if you appreciate what we're doing here. And make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring some brothers in. This is another example. Join the conversation. I'm not going to be in here playing with y'all too much longer. Y'all not going to have me in here 2 hours talking and teaching you guys and talking to you guys about this stuff and y'all don't appreciate it. Let me know you here. Let me know you appreciate this. Changamire Dombo. That's the brother's name, Changamire Dombo. He occupied this area of land. He was said to have superpowers, supernatural powers. This is the same location where they say Wakanda is, more or less, up in this region right in here. So look, come on in. Let's talk about it. We don't have a whole lot of time here. We want to get this conversation in. What have we learned? Have you ever heard of Changamire Dombo before today? Is this something that you talk about every year in your Black history class? I ain't never heard of it. That's like when you hear about George Washington Carver, like, wow, we had one of them. They don't ever tell you about Changamire Dombo whooping the Portuguese butts consistently. Why we hear about Shaka, but we don't hear about Changamire Dombo? Why is that? Why do you think we don't hear about Changamire Dombo? Because he whooped their butts. He might give us too many ideas about how to fight. That's why. That's what I think. Malika, what's up, man? Y'all get the contributions up. Hit the number 1 button. Let me get some $5, some $10, some $20. Man, I'm sorry, Malika. I've been doing this for a week now, man. And it seems like the only thing our brothers and sisters respond to is that garbage out there in pop culture. You know, they want to talk about who's sleeping with who doing what. I want to talk about Black masculinity, and I want to pull from places that we can put out. I want to pull some of that pure he would be toxically masculine, I believe, Changamire Dombo, if he was here today. He dug up their graves, Malika. He wouldn't even let the dead sleep in his land. What you think about that?
That's game, man. That's psychological game.
It sure is.
You know,
so have you ever heard of Changamire Dombo before this?
No, I haven't, brother. This is the first time.
He's one of the greatest African leaders that have ever lived, even greater than Shaka, that we've never heard about him. Why is that, in your opinion, sir?
Oh, because if we heard about him, that would bolster up a whole lot of confidence. And it's showing evidence that there were greater leaders than a lot of other white leaders out there. It's showing that the continent that we came from had greater people, and it's not like how you said, a bunch of monkeys, a bunch of
monkeys swinging from trees, living,
a bunch of savages,
eating each other,
putting people in cauldrons and eating each other, and also some backwards people.
Right. Wow. This man was using psychological tactics. This man was consistently whooping them, helping other people from other tribes whoop them. You see what I'm saying?
But also, you know what it stated too?
What?
This man was using shields, spears, bows, and arrows against firearms from the Portuguese, and not stopping.
And still won.
Exactly.
So they knew they look at that, man. I mean, that's amazing. Thanos the Inevitable, how you doing, man? So we talking about Changamire Dombo. What do you think about this whole series, Thanos?
Actually, I wanted to come in here specifically just to thank you for even doing it, because a good portion of the names that you mentioned, I haven't even heard of them, or at the very least, if I have heard of them, I forgot about them. I had like a little thing where I was looking into African history a little bit. That was back when I was a teenager. I did hear about us winning against the white folks coming in with spears and stuff like that. I just forgot the names. And
well, I'm gonna give you another one since you appreciative. What Dombo means? Dombo. What does it mean? It means rock.
Oh,
so this was Lord Rock that they were fighting. That should give you a hint as to what this man was like. His name was Rock. Anybody you meet whose name is Rock, he's the one. That's the one you want leading you into battle right there. You want Rock, Lord Rock. That's who we rolling with. Changamire Dombo, Rock. That's basically it. Lord Rock. That was who he was. Now, what you think about that?
Man, he had them boys running for their life.
Yeah. Right. So so I read this part earlier. Changamire Dombo, according to oral tradition, he is believed to have possessed supernatural powers. He is said to be able to turn a white cow into a red one and more. His magical ability made him feared by people and earned him respect and even more followers. The name Changamire became the honor name of all the kings who followed him afterwards. So Changamire might as well be, Black Panther. You see what I mean? This the title you earn after you become the Lord. So like I do a little bit, I like watching Marvel. I honestly believe they probably stole this. This is another one of those ideas that they stole from African culture. I mean, we got Professor X and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Magneto. All of those are ideas that they borrowed from the Black Panther movie. I don't see why they would stop there. If you got Changamire Dombo, who's said to have super, they know about him. They know what this brother did. They study all this in military and war history. They know all that. This is on their minds. You said, what do you think about that, Thanos? You think they stole it?
Most likely. In fact, I'm pretty sure that they know just about all of the great things that we did. I think everybody on this planet knows about our greatness. It's just that when they do tell it, they want to monetize it, and the real stuff that we did, they want to hide it so that we don't reproduce it.
I mean, think about it. See this right here? This is where Wakanda is supposed to be, right? Okay, this is Wakanda, one of the locations of Wakanda, and this right here is the same place that the Rosby homeland is. You see what I'm saying? It's the same area right up in there. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they're letting you know they know about your history. Now, what lessons in masculinity can you bring from Changamire Dombo? What? This is our brother. This is our Black brother. What can you bring? Because see, that's what this is about. All right. He was living during the time of slavery. The Portuguese were in the slave business. They were putting Black bodies on ships They were beating them. They were raping them. You see what I mean? Men and women. And then they thought they was just gonna make that loop around Africa, right? Okay, they thought they were just gonna make that loop around Africa, come down here and do the same thing to these brothers. So they had that same white supremacy racist mindset. You understand? They didn't see us as equal, Thanos. They thought we were just gonna roll over and die. They probably thought they could pay off one and get the rest of them to turn, and then we'll just use these people as slaves too. You understand what I'm saying? But see, there's a difference between the southeast coast of Africa. For some reason, there's some difference between these Africans here and these Africans here over in Mali. Now, I do know that this right here, all of this was luxury. All of this, they had silk, they had beautiful homes. This was the upper middle class right here. This was upper middle class Africa up in here. Okay, this is right here, Mali. That's where Mansa Musa was from. There was gold there. They had everything. Over here, they ain't have all that down here on the south side, bro. You see what I'm saying? They wasn't. I don't hear a lot of Zulus and these warriors, these people over here being made slaves. Yeah, they had to deal with apartheid, Thanos. But what's the difference between these black folks here in this corner and these black folks here? You tell me. What are your thoughts? And y'all get the likes up, get the contributions up. Don't have me over here talking for free. I'll go back to talking about I'll play some old school hip hop videos. We'll be talking about old stuff back in the day. I won't even give you the benefit of talking about Quavo. But what are your thoughts on that, Thanos?
I could theorize that, Tanzania, Mozambique, that area, that's where the Arabs were doing their own slave chase. They were probably used to fighting them off, so they became more ruthless.
They got ruthless. Say it again for the people in the back.
They became ruthless from what they had.
They were ruthless down there. And they had a warrior culture down there. You see, this is a warrior culture. All up in here is a warrior culture. All right, up in here, we were living good. We civilized. You see what I mean? We civilized. We living good up in here in Mali and Western Sahara and Morocco. Remember, we've been talking about this earlier today. This is where Abu, Amir, all those guys are from, with their silk and all that sort of stuff. That's what life was good, man. They had gold and gold mines. They don't have all that down here like that. They got spears for you, though. They got that action for you. All right, hang in there, Malika. What are your thoughts on this, man? So it seems to me a difference between the northwest coast of Africa, the west coast of Africa, and the southeast coast. What are your thoughts on that,
man? I don't know. I was so caught up on thinking of what you said. What were the masculine traits that
yeah, go ahead.
Brother Dombo was thinking. I was writing down some bullet points. I'm sorry, brother. I wasn't doing it.
No, go ahead.
One was he taught us to outthink your enemy and your opponent. Don't outfight them. Because if you try to outfight them, that's no way. He was thinking them using psychological warfare. To piggyback on that, he used everyone in the community to fight by using the women to set fires to the encampments of the Portuguese enemies. And he didn't give up, and he didn't let the odds against him be a detriment to his success by having shields, spears, bow and arrows against firearms. He found better, ingenious ways to take down the enemy, even if the enemy had a more higher technological foothold on him. First of all, he utilized that, okay, you're in my backyard. I'm going to utilize everything that I have against you, even though if it causes the detriment, even of my forces are being diminished because you have superior firepower. But he still used his mind in order to defeat his enemy. That's a masculine maneuver.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think we all can learn. Like in any situation, we want to try to outfight. I'll take it from you, man. You talk about going to court as a black attorney against Caucasian attorneys, they don't want to lose against you. And you know how to read that person, like, okay, you know you don't want to lose against me. So you know how to utilize your fellow attorneys' weakness against them. And you always talk about being prepared, and you always talk about understanding the outcome.
How do you think it felt to Changamire Dombo, knowing that his people were being enslaved in other parts of Africa, and these were the people that were doing it, and he was able to kill them like that and dig their graves up? And literally, how do you think that made him feel to know that he routed them?
Oh, he felt superior. He felt power, but also he felt vindicated.
Right. And so what do you think the Portuguese thought about these Zulus and these people over here in the southeast corner of Africa, where we're able to take these other Africans up here and just call them all kind of names and come up with all this propaganda? But the only thing these people over here in Roseby have for us is a spear in the neck. I mean, what does that do to the enemy? Like, you see them as all one big Negro. You see what I mean? And we just gonna go down there with our guns and make noise and shoot, kill them and whatever. And then you run across this group and they just annihilate you like that. What did that do to the enemy?
Oh, put fear of God in them.
Yeah. And what about
made them feel that they weren't that superior.
Right.
You know,
well, maybe it just showed them that they weren't that superior.
Yeah, they were shook beyond compare.
Maybe they aren't that superior.
Exactly.
Maybe it doesn't matter how much technology you have. If you're dealing with somebody who's willing to die, who's willing to kill you and die trying to kill you, maybe it doesn't matter what your technology is doing. What do you think Changamire Dombo would say about this hands up, don't shoot, take a knee? What do you think about that? Take a knee, please don't shoot. Right.
He'd be appalled, brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. See, we need some of that, fellas. We need some of that masculinity, you know, all this begging and pleading. If you don't like what's going on, let's just leave. Let's just SYSBM, get a passport, find somewhere else to be. But all this whining and crying, and this is beneath us, and this is beneath our ancestors. If you're gonna stay, then stay, you know, but be a man about it. If you're gonna leave, then leave. But all that whining and crying and whatnot, you know, that's beneath the stock of men that we came from. Even the women. Y'all get the likes up. Hit the #1 button. Hit the #1 button if you appreciate. Hey, you know what, man? I'm not gonna play with these folks tonight, bro. Look, I've been at this for a minute. You guys don't appreciate what I'm doing. If you don't like this, I can go back to our regularly scheduled stuff. All right, we can go back to talking about all the latest rappers. I personally don't think that's going to do anything for you. I personally don't think that's a story you're going to want to sit around and tell your sons about when they start feeling like, man, this world is against me. White supremacy, racism everywhere. I don't feel like me telling you the story of Quavo and Sweetie is going to make your sons feel any better about his position. However, Changamire Dombo, Shaka Zulu, Mansa Musa, Abu Bakari II, Yusuf Ben Amir, all these stories, I think that will help them. And so all I'm asking you to do is contribute $5, $10, $20, $100, and hit the like button. That's it. This is the lesson that you get. You're getting some PhD level Black history. And I know Malika ain't heard about it, and Thanos hadn't heard about it. Nobody's heard about it. But I'm doing this research and I'm bringing it to you. And not only that, I'm giving you references right here at the bottom of this. So contribute $5, $10 to Cash App, to PayPal are right here. There's no excuse for you guys not to do it. You know, it's just no excuse. Don't do that to me, right? You want to hear about dating and all that stuff. That's cool. That's wonderful. But your man, brothers, your woman is never going to respect you until she sees you as a man again, until you get your masculinity back. I don't care how many games you try to run. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care if it's 6 figures or 10 figures or whatever. I don't care how many people look up to you. She's never going to look at you with the same respect that the women this Rosby tribe looked at Changamire Dombo because he was a man and he was willing to put his on the line. And see, until you bring some of that into you, until you bring some of that Shaka Zulu into you, until you bring some of that Changamire Dombo into you, your woman is never going to see you as a man. She's never going to respect you. A lot of the problems that we have here in Black America is that Black women fundamentally don't respect Black American men. She respects that white man. That's why she can go date him and submit to him and then turn around. That same woman that gives you the blues will submit to that white man because she respects him as the alpha male in the society, period. And she doesn't respect you. And until you get back to your African selves, until you get back to your masculine selves, until you start channeling that inner Shanga Dombo, you're never going to have the respect of your woman. And she's never going to teach your children to respect you like you should. So I'm here to help you. I'm here to talk to you about this. Now, we could always talk about Lil Nas X, but I don't think that's an image that you need to have burned into your skull every day, like the mass media is trying to do. I don't think you need to hear about the last Black man who's allegedly have assaulted some group of women somewhere, you know, is getting sued for his money. I think I'm tired of that. I'm thinking you guys are tired of that. Yeah, this might be old in that this 16 something, 16, 80, 16. You never heard of this Black. They never told this Lord who this whole Black movement is based off. They said this man had to live in the same region as what we call Wakanda. So you don't think they still in they know more about your history than you do. I'm just trying to help you catch up. At least you could do that, but at least you could do is give a contribution. That's it. That's all I'm asking you guys to do, and I shouldn't have to beg you to do that. Can you guys, Mike, are you there? All right.
Can you hear me, Dennis?
I'm still here.
He's muted.
Technical difficulties, I guess.
I mean,
That's great.
all right, we hear you now, man.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, Dennis. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm just, let me get the screen back up. All right. So anyway, go ahead and what else you got to say on this thing, man? Talk to me.
No, that was it, brother. It was just him it was just those bullet points of this showing him how the way he did not outfight, just didn't want to take the fight to his enemies. He was outthinking them because he knew he did not have the firepower, but he had the ingenuity and also the heart and the desire to take out the enemy. Right. And it's just like in chess, you know, you can be aggressive or you can be planned in aggression, you know, by having your enemy be at sleep, but you have your women to sneak in under subterfuge and set fire to the encampments, which burns down all their rations, all their weapons, and leaves them disoriented, but also not having the equipment to fight. That's a psychological way of taking your enemy out. And I'm not just talking about in war, just how the way he was thinking and planning. But we as men, like how you said, that's masculine. That's having you think. that's having you think like a man. But like how you said, if our attentions are diverted to stuff that's foolish, like Quavo and Sweetie and Little Nas X and all the other BS, that takes us out of our masculine mindsets.
See, the thing is, man, and I'm gonna just say it like this, man. The more you watch that, the more you become like them.
Facts.
See, the more you watch something like a Lil Nas X, or what's the dude that had on dress a couple of years back? You might not even like it, but that's the image of you burned into your head. The more you see that, the more that becomes something you become accustomed to. That becomes you. Oh, this is what your brain is kind of. Oh, this is what we're supposed to look like. This is what we're supposed to look like. First, you got Billy. What's his name? Billy. What's the guy?
Porter.
Billy Porter. And now you got Lil Nas X. This is what they're trying to do to you. You see what I mean? And so you have to get something. And you're tired of looking at Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. They shot them. Why can't we hear some success stories? You know, and that's what I'm trying to bring here. You know, and you have to begin to show yourself. One of the first people that my sons know as a black leader was Shaka Zulu. You know, they just kind of found out about man. I don't tell them stories with sad endings. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King is a sad ending. You know, now they know about Changamire Dombo. That's a happy ending. We won. You know, Shaka at least was never conquered. Yeah, his brothers turned his back on him, but we won. Mansa Musa, we won. Abu Bakr II, we won. You see what I mean? Yusuf and Abin Amir Umar, we won. Let's teach them some stories where they can win. That's what I'm doing this for. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, take this seriously, brothers, because I promise there's not going to be anybody else that's going to come behind me and do this. Hell, I'm not going to do this for because this ain't paying enough. Look at them. Y'all barely, I ain't got nobody crack the $50 mark. When I'm talking about, what's that dude's name? The one, the quarterback over there for Seattle just got traded. When I'm talking about that?
Oh, you talking Russell Wilson?
When I talk about Russell Wilson being a simp, Sierra, y'all $50, $100, no problem. When I talk about Changamire Dombo and your masculinity, nothing. That lets me know how much it's worth to you. You see what I mean? And that's disappointing because it lets me know that my people, my brothers' minds are only used to slurping up trash. Y'all like hogs, slurping up slop. You love it. You love that rotten meat, that rotten stuff that's just rotting you out. That's what's on the inside of you. And that's unfortunate. But the only way to heal you is to fill your mind with masculinity and positive images and life. That's the only way to do it. But, you know, it's a trip. But either way, thanks, Malika. All right, Lexus, you came in late, man. What are your thoughts on Changamire Dombo?
Well, first of all, good evening, gentlemen. My thoughts on Changamire Dombo is that the man was a genius. He used psychological warfare and African unity and gender espionage and roles in warfare.
Ooh, good point. Good point. Tell them where specifically you noticed the gender as Malika hit on that a little bit, but talk to what you mean when you say gender warfare.
Well, again, he used the women because women are not seen as very, you know, on that masculine side as far as threatening. So they were able to get in and sneak into the camp and burn their reserves, like Malika stated earlier. But then we also see him being uncompromising with his hatred and using the death ground and no surrender strategy. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and then he became so strong at the end that even the other tribes, instead of going to the Portuguese to ask for help, they went to him to ask for help for him to get rid of the Portuguese. What are your thoughts on it? Isn't that amazing?
Well, yes, it is, because at first your people, even amongst ourselves, people will always doubt you. They'll go somewhere else until you start getting some wins. You know about this as a young lawyer. You weren't able to get the high profile clients until you started getting one or two couple wins, and then you started getting the middle ground cases, and then the high profile, and here you are now.
Yeah.
So it's all about attracting and becoming a winner. It's not about the losses. It's about the wins and the experiences you get from the losses.
Yeah. So I think our Lexus, I think we need to celebrate more kings and not just Martin Luther King.
Absolutely.
We need to celebrate more real kings. And we need to celebrate more generals and not so many civil rights, some leaders of countries and not civil rights leaders. Because see, here they got us. We're fighting over it's almost like you got us fighting behind the 8 ball. Like there's no ground to gain. We're just trying to get back to being human beings. When before we used to run the country and set out whose rights were what, who had what. Now we're just trying to get back to the status of human beings, or Alexis. You see what I'm saying? Let's change this narrative and let's begin to talk. We always talk about these kings and queens, but nobody told us who these kings and queens were. I'm telling them these are these people. These should be the people that you mentioned. What about this man? What about that man? You got pictures. You can always come back to here. And I suggest you guys download these videos and use them as references, because I don't think Facebook is YouTube is gonna have me up much longer. I believe the channel is probably gonna get deleted, especially, and I don't save them. So, if you don't save them, I'm damn sure not gonna save them.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Do you think that Africa would have been better served if they had a great conqueror that conquered the whole continent, like a Genghis Khan, or because it was so huge, it would have been a logistical nightmare to govern such a vast empire?
Well, here's the thing, man. You got different people, different lands. You got it. Let's say your army, your kingdom, your citadel is in the northwest corner. I mean, you damn near got to travel 4,000 miles to get them to the southeast corner, over all sorts of terrain and jungle. It's not even a straight shot. You want to sail around there, you leave your northeast corner, and by the time you get around there and fight a war for 2 or 3 years against the southeast corner, you've lost territory in the northeast. I just think logistically it's impossible to do so. It's one thing to say we're gonna take over some islands and we'll take over, Germany. Europe is very small comparatively speaking. You can take a car, you can drive across Europe in a day or so. You know what I mean? Like it's just not that big. Africa is a continent with diverse people, diverse languages, and you'll run out of energy trying to fight your way through Africa. Hell, the animals will get you, the insects will get you. It's not somewhere it's like trying to conquer the ocean. You know what I mean? It's not something you can really do. You don't have the manpower to do it, or the staying power. So I don't think that's necessarily feasible. I actually think Africa was, is, and shall be. The only group of people that are multiplying and breeding and having children are African. Everybody else, even us Black Americans here in the United States, our population is on a decline. So are the white folks, so are the Asian, Japanese, these folks. So it's Africa will eventually rule the world again. Nature always wins, and we are the people closest to nature. Those of us, who come from that hot tropical environment, love the sun. We'll be here. You see what I mean? We custom made for this planet. Everybody else is a derivative. We'll be here. So, but other than that, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Army Bliss, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, man. Hey, it's been a while. I just want to say real quick though, but I really love what you're doing. I love the last 3 shows, the lessons you showed, the last 3 leaders. This is great because I never got introduced, or probably none of us all got introduced about these lessons. And it just shows that what our American history shows us, that they try to treat Black people as somewhat like down, or I don't know what the word is though, but you know what I mean though. But this, like you said, they don't show winners, and these are actually winners.
They don't want to show winners. No.
And I never knew any about. I knew about Massa, the but I didn't know anyone else. And this is great though. I just want to say, I hope you should have like twice or triple the times of likes.
Man, we got 46 people in the chat room. Man, when I talked about Lil Nas X, we had like 300 people in the chat room. You see what I mean? This shows. Go ahead.
That is disgusting. Yeah, that is. I think it's kind of disgusting. I mean, this is so great. I don't know, man. This is so great. I don't know what it is though, but I just say
I mean, I'm gonna run these now. Okay, so Emperor Mansa Musa has been up for 3 days. We got 998 views. All right. King Shaka Zulu, we got 789 views. Okay, so African General Abu Bakari Umar, we got 607 views. General Yusuf Ibn Tashman, we got 526 views. Okay, now by contrast, the video that I did where the porn star was up here harassing me, we got 5,000 views. You see what I'm saying, brother? You see, porn star blames black men for low marriage. 6,100 views. 6,100 views. You see the difference?
I would say this. Maybe the only thing is two things here. Obviously, is the level of interest, and two, it could be the algorithm. One thing I just say algorithm though, because some people put notifications and they personalize it.
Yeah.
You don't get the notifications you get, like in the sense of like this kind of content though. But regardless of that,
why so many women food drivers? 2,200 views. You see what I'm saying? So it lets me know it's not the algorithm, brother. It's that our people are so used to eating slop, they feed off slop. It's like trying to give an obese person some goddamn zucchini and low fat cottage cheese to eat. They're gonna rebuke that. You see what I mean? They want that cheeseburger with the grease in it dripping off the side. You know, that's what they want.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They're not used to this. They can't handle it. The system is like, oh my God, what is this? Is this that health? Get that health up out of here. This is what we do. Right. All right. But I appreciate you guys. If you appreciate what I'm doing, man, hit the #1 button. Let me know you're in the house. Hit the #1 button. Hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button. And also contribute to the super chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. My man, Javelin Lightning, how you doing today? Welcome. What do you think about this video, Changamire Dombo? They said the man has supernatural power. What do you think about that? Javelin Lightning, unmute yourself. Well,
can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Yes, sir.
Okay. This platform is different. I'm trying to get used to it. I just joined in just now, and I agree with the brother that has the books right there. Something that he said earlier. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I was just talking to a friend of mine about we black men have to do what we. These kings from back then, this gentleman that you mentioned from back in the days, I don't know his name, but the subject that we're talking about, that's the same mindset.
Changamire Dombo.
What was his name again?
Changamire Dombo.
Changamire
Dombo.
Dombo.
Dombo. Dombo. Yeah, it means, now, yeah.
I have the same mindset.
You're breaking up a little bit, brother. We can barely hear you on your sound. Okay. Yeah, your sound is breaking up, bro. So hold on a minute. We got your sound is bad, Javelin Lightning. So we'll go over here to Sim Sayat.
Got it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So
yeah. So Javelin Lightning.
You know, a subject that's Yes.
Yeah, your sound is really bad. You're cutting in and out. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we were talking about a subject that's similar to talking about right now. It's funny how the universe works and how energy travels. But yeah, I like this information, and we got to teach our black boys to be leaders, team players, so forth and so on. Very important.
All right, I appreciate that, Javelin.
We also need.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're gonna go to Sim. We're gonna go to Sim Siya. Sim Siya, unmute yourself. So we're talking about. Can you hear me, Sim?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great, man. So we're talking about Changamire Dombo. We're talking about this great African warrior, king, lord, fought from the front, led from the front. This was his empire here. It was the Rosary Changamire Dombo Empire. Basically, this is the Indian Ocean over here. This was all his, all the way up to Zambia, all the way down to the top of South Africa, Swaziland over here. This is him. He ran this over to Mozambique. What are your thoughts on this conversation, brother?
Man, I just want to say I appreciate you covering this. It's really, really refreshing to see someone who sees value in the history of Africa and the many leaders that were involved in the culmination of where we're at today. But I'm from South Africa originally, been in America since '93, and I'll say that in the early '90s there was a conscious effort for people to be really interested in Africa. I recall that at least the community that I came across, they were very informed about some of the things that happened in the past. They were very much consciously attempting to be a reflection of the American extension of Africa in whatever respective group that they identify with. And I really appreciate that. So I'm from South Africa, but my father's family is from Swaziland. So I'm Swati, Xhosa, and Zulu, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
So one of the things that I would just put out there, right, is that Africa is in the place that they're in because of a conscious effort to suppress and keep Africa down, right? So one of the questions that I pose, and I really appreciate like when people from America really take an interest in Africa, right? But one of the things that we'll say specifically about South Africa, right? South Africa, although there's Black leadership presently today, from an economic standpoint, there wasn't really a change in power. It was more so just a change in the governing part of the country. And so it became something more so where the Black people run the government component of the country, but the economic engine is still ran by the oppressors, right? So you guys familiar with the gentleman by the name of Cecil Rhodes?
Yes.
Yeah. So Cecil Rhodes reigned Southern Africa for many, many years, and him and his initiative is very much part of the reason why we have the whole proposal process, as far as people getting on one knee, the De Beers Corporation and many other parts, So I say that it's really, really good that you guys are covering this. I really, really appreciate it, honestly, from a personal standpoint. I would just do an FYI for you all to kind of see the area that he reigned, because Zimbabwe was many years after. Well, one thing I'll say is that I did not know about Changamire prior to you actually introducing him to us, right? It's not something that I learned about.
From South Africa.
I'm from South Africa. Yeah. So I'm from South Africa. My father's family is from Swaziland. And then my mother is from South Africa. She grew up in the Xhosa area, but I grew up in what we call KZN, KwaZulu Natal. That's where all the Zulu people are at, in that area. So that's the southeastern portion.
That'd be over here, right here. This is Swaziland, where you're over here somewhere, more or less. Right?
So I lived. It was a little bit further down south. I grew up in a city by the name of Durban. It's a port city. But anyway, so it'd be interesting for you all to kind of see like the area that Cecil Rhodes kind of reigned and see like today's impact on what he did, because countries like Botswana actually was a part of South Africa before they actually broke off, and it's really intriguing, like I said, to learn something from you and to have an opportunity to learn about some other leaders, because Shaka Zulu is someone that a lot of people end up sharing as a prominent leader, but there are many other leaders who were a part of the freedom fight for Black people, making sure that they did not get taken down by the oppressors and what have you. But I just want to say I appreciate you sharing this information.
Oh, no problem, SimCI, and I appreciate you here. Here's the thing I want to talk about. You know, I don't necessarily talk about African history. I'm not a historian. But what I do talk about is Black men and Black masculinity. And see, this is your heritage. You see what I mean? Earlier, we talked about Mansa Musa on my page. We talked about Abu Bukhari. Many of us as Black Americans, our ancestry, we can trace it directly back to the Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Senegal. We can trace ours back to there. This is in your gene pool. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, we all brothers, we all African, but Changamire Dombo is your gene pool. So you learn about him and I tell my brothers this all the time. When you become excellent, your ancestors will come back to you. You know, when you become excellent and you meet their criteria, they will come back to you and they will give you what you need. And so, you know, I think that all of us as Black men, we need a dose of masculinity from the past. You see what I mean? It's much better than sitting here looking at some of these fools that we have on television losing their money to women that they shouldn't have been with in the first place, or dressing up, trying to look like women and imitate, you know, to try to get attention, you know, from the media, trying to make a few dollars from, you know, selling rap tapes and whatnot. And so think about what Changamire Dombo was protecting. He was protecting the gold trade. He wasn't killing the Portuguese just to kill them. He was protecting his gold trade, which belonged to him. This was his. He staked ownership in that. This is mine, and I'm willing to die for what's mine. And you got to respect that, you know, or you're going to fear it. And that's what he made the Portuguese do. He made them fear him. Is there any other insight that you can give us, SimCI, about life growing up in South Africa or in that area? I know there was a significance about him having supernatural power. I understand that is something that is openly discussed almost. There are those people who you know, they always have that culture. He's super, like there was a part of Shaka Zulu's book where they always talk to the shaman, as they call them. What's that culture like there? And what does that do to people? And one more thing, how do you feel about, how does that culture embrace their ancestors, the dead? You know, in European, they run away from their ancestors. But it's my understanding that our African brothers, whatever country they're from, they typically embrace their ancestors. They don't run away from them. Maybe you can start with that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that, you know. So there's a conscious effort right now to really water down as much of the cultural practices from the past as possible. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest initiatives that does this is, you know, through religion, Christianity, right?
Right.
It's my belief that parishioners and missionaries are the first effort whenever colonizing a nation, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because they influence the way people think and the way that they need to receive oppression or receive adversity. And then all the other efforts come right behind it, you know? But so I'll say from South Africa, from the standpoint of South Africa, there is a divide between what we would call the people who are called the Sangomas. Sangomas are like the medicine man or the medicine woman. It's something that it's generally something that you don't really, it's something that chooses you. It's not something that you actually choose to do, right? It's the connection and the connection and the relationship between people of today and their ancestors just really depends on the household that you grew up in. So if you grew up in a predominantly religious, and I'm talking about Western religion or Christianity as a whole, more than likely, if you grew up in that type of household, you did not acknowledge any of the cultural practices, the tribal practices of the past. because they were regarded as being archaic or barbaric, and the more modern regards to God and the gods is what's really acknowledged. And so it just really depends on your family specifically. And
they trying to get you away from that, whatever that religion was, the Changamire Dombo practice. They don't want you to have no parts of that, or that Shaka Zulu religion. They don't want none of that. They don't want you. No, Simcia. No, they don't want you to have no parts of that religion.
Even if you look up like the Zulu tribe as a whole, you know, they say that the Zulu tribe is like a Christian centered organization, you know, and there are various different ceremonies they require, like sacrificing an animal, a cow, or what have you. Like in my family, so I'm from what you would call the Matendra clan or Matendra family. So our family is right outside of Swaziland, right there on the border of Swaziland and South Africa. And so I say that our family does not eat goat, right? We do not eat goat. We do not eat no goat byproducts because it's regarded to be something that causes mental illness, you know? So that's something that's passed down from generation to generation, that there's no goat that's eaten within the family. So whenever we had ceremonies where there would be what we would call a braai or food would be cooked, they would always allocate chicken for me and my siblings who came from the Matendra family, right? And but like there are many ceremonies that are still traditional, like the marriage and proposal ceremonies are still traditional, where there's what people would call a dowry, and we call it lobola, right? So where the man would go to the family of the prospective bride or prospective future wife, and the man would talk to the uncle and not the father, and the uncle would act as a mediator between the two to kind of negotiate like a reasonable amount of money to contribute as a peace offering to show that your worthiness. But in the past, they used cows, and so in my Matendra family, say it again.
Go ahead, Simcia.
So in my family we have cows, and so whenever there are different ceremonies that take place, there's a cow that's sacrificed, and then the cow is slaughtered, and then there's various different rituals that take place, as part of the attempt to connect with the ancestors. But it all just really specifically relates to
connect with the ancestors. So in answering my question, you all don't run from your ancestors. You want to connect with your ancestors. Right?
It really depends on the family. Like I said, if the family is more religious in nature, they're going to run away from it. But if the family is more traditional, because like I said, there's a war right now between tradition.
Let me interject in this. So when the white man came out of northern Scandinavia with the religion of, we'll call it the Norse religion, Thor, Zeus, it told them to conquer, kill, destroy. The world belongs to you. If you die fighting, then you'll be drinking ale in Valhalla with your ancestors. So it presents you with an opportunity to connect with your ancestors. That's the religion that they use to conquer. The watered down version of Christianity that they taught us is turn the other cheek. You'll be a great slave. Don't fight it. For the most part, that's what they gave us. See, the thing about, they know that we as Black people we're spiritual. We're connected to God. And all they have to do is give us their religion, because see, from your religion, you derive your purpose. And if they're giving you your religion, then they are the ones in charge of your purpose. See, the problem that they had with these brothers over here in Africa, especially those Muslims, General Yusuf ibn Tashim, Abu Bakr ibn Umar, Mansa Musa, Abu Bukhari, is that they hadn't issued them their religion for the most part. But at least the white people had, the Arabs kind of did on that one. But the bottom line is you derive your purpose from your religion. You derive your purpose from your spirituality. And if your purpose is to please your God, and your God says protect your people, then that's going to be your purpose. And you're going to protect your people. That's what Shaka did. That's what King Changamire Dombo did. And so what I'm trying to tell you, brothers, is, and I know y'all love Christianity. God bless you. I don't want no problems. I read the Bible. I get a lot of good messages out of there. But you're going to have to learn to interpret Christianity so that it gives you a purpose that fulfills what's necessary for you to survive on this planet, just like the Vikings did, just like Changamire Dombo did. See, as long as we interpret it saying, you know, that as long as we interpret our religion, whatever it is in a way that allows them to kill us off and destroy us, and we don't do anything about it, then that religion is failing us, period. But thank you so much, Simpsy. I appreciate you. Thank you all for the contributions. I appreciate Malika, Thanos, our Lexus, and Javelin Lightning. Also, Simpsy, I appreciate you. You guys appreciate what I'm doing? Hey, look, the Cash App is right there. The PayPal will be right there all night. Trust me, this ain't easy. It's not like I'm just sitting up here, getting up here talking about, you know, something easy. I have to do research on this. This is not something that I do normally, and I present it to you in a way that you can really understand and take it home with you. We learned a lot about King Changamire Dombo, somebody you never heard. I challenge each one of you guys to take this name, Google it, and learn as much as you can about each one of these people, each one of these black men. Use what they have taught you. Pull from their notions of masculinity based on their acts and your extrapolations from their personality. And you incorporate that into yourself and become a better man. Become the man that you're supposed to be. Become the black kings that we used to be, the black warriors, the black generals. Now, we're not just going to talk about black kings and generals and warriors. I got some other theologians and whatnot. We're going to talk about some different people, some more kings, but theologians, and we're going to talk about some more emperors. But I need for you all to make sure that we're going to revisit Mansa Musa, because I think that's very important. But the most important thing I need you guys to do, all right, I need you guys to make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. That's what keeps this thing going. God bless you. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And, you know, let's keep this thing going. Make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going.